Hello everybody. Welcome to Feature Friday. And this is a new setup for me. Hopefully this is going to go well. We are streaming live both into Facebook and YouTube concurrently. So hopefully everything will go well. We have been really working hard to make this happen. So I'm going to start off by saying hello to everybody. Hello everybody. So hi, Mary Ellen. Hi, Chris. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Marianne. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Karen. Hi, Gwen. Hello, Keith and Linda. Hi, Stephanie. So, okay, I already see something. There is a little bit of an issue. I'm getting some feedback from YouTube. I didn't know how well this would work, but there will be some buffering on the YouTube channel for this video. I apologize for that. However, it's all being recorded and you will be able to see them both fully either on Facebook or YouTube. Okay. So we are going to get started, everyone. Hi, Christina. Hi, Valerie. Thank you, Valerie. We are working hard on making the YouTube side even better. So, and I already see what the issue is, and it will be corrected before next Friday for sure. Okay. I do see a couple of comments on the YouTube screen. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Christina. Hi, Eugenia. Hi, Karen. Hi, Laura. Hi, Vanessa. So awesome to be here, everybody. And let's see here. So I'm going to leave the YouTube up, and you'll just have to bear with me on that side. So anyway, welcome to Feature Friday, and in the comments in our group over the last week, there's been a lot of discussion about the differences between the quilt binding foot that I demoed last Friday night and the other two feet that are similar, the bi-level feet, the left bi-level foot and the right bi-level foot. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, and specifically how they apply to attaching your quilt binding with that. Excuse me just a moment. Okay, nothing like some good H2O, right? Alrighty, so we are going to get started. Now I'm going to swap over the camera. And here, oops, let's flip that camera view. Come on, there we go. Okay, so there's the 3 feet in question that everybody has asked. We've all asked a lot of questions about it. And by the way, everyone, I do have a new microphone up and running, and it's a boom mic, so I'm hoping this all really works out well for sound. I think it'll be a lot better than my batteries going dead on me, so to speak. So, as we can see here, right here, this is a bi-level foot. Now, the corresponding feet are up here at the top. The middle one is what we did last Friday night, the quilt binding foot, okay? And the difference, there are some large differences. The biggest difference between them, the bi-level feet were not originally designed specifically to attach quilt binding with, okay? These 2 feet were for decorative edge stitching. And if you look at them, the difference between the left and the right is what side that the left bi-level foot, or it just says bi-level foot here, it actually has the raised part on the left side of the foot. right underneath my thumb right there. I'm trying to get it so you can see that on the, there you go. Now notice, excuse me, notice between this raised portion, there's a lot of space over to the groove on that foot. For instance, get something to point with. Right there is that groove, okay? And then there's about a 1/4 inch from the edge of the groove over to the foot. Now, if you're doing quilt binding, that means if you're doing a straight stitch, there's a little notch right here on the top of this foot. You can see it right there. That is actually where the edge of your fabric would run against. Now, on the quilt binding foot, hold on here, maybe I won't be all thumbs. The quilt binding foot, the edge is right way over here, that little mark, and that's where the actual edge of the fabric. By turning them upside down, you can see the biggest difference between them. This is the bi-level foot. Notice that is the raised part. On the quilt binding foot, that is the raised part. It's more than double the size of over here on the bi-level foot. Okay, which means you can actually, what that all boils down to is this. When you're running your binding or the edge of the fabric under the foot, you'll be able to place the needle closer to the edge of the fold line of that binding than you will with this. This was specifically designed by Sarah Galejos. Hi, Sarah. By Sarah Galejos with in conjunction with Baby Lock, because they asked her how could they make the bi-level feet better for a quilter, and this is what she came up with, and this is what they produced. This is an awesome foot. If you're a quilter, I consider this quite honestly a must-have for attaching quilt binding. There is another method, though, that we didn't talk about last week, and I have 3 videos on YouTube on how to do that, and that is using the digital dual feed foot. That's the big computerized walking foot. Excuse me. I'll put these right up here. That is the big walking foot that's controlled by the computer in some of the Baby Lock machines. I'm going to lay those out where they belong, and we're going to talk about these. So if you're not using a walking foot, if you're not using the digital dual feed foot, this is the best foot right here to attach binding to your quilt with. Okay? If you're going to use the digital dual feed foot, these are the ones that I use for that. And, hold on here. There we go. This is a 1/4 inch plate that fits on the bottom of that digital dual feed foot. Notice it has an edge guide, and from center needle position to this edge guide is a 1/4 inch. You could use this to attach the binding to your quilt before you flip it over and top stitch it down. This is called the open-toed plate, and if you have it flipped over and you're ready to top stitch that binding down in place, if you'll run the edge of the binding along excuse me, the inside edge of this foot right here, you will achieve the same effect as with the quilt binding foot. Okay? When you might like, and this is actually a stitch in the ditch foot for the digital dual feed. If you're going to buy any of the stitch plates for the digital dual feed foot, these do not come with it. These are the 3 that I highly recommend, and I use. I even piece quilt tops using this foot right here. Okay? And like I said, I have 3 YouTube videos on how to use these 3 feet to do your quilt binding with. Okay. The bi-level foot right, let's just back this up a bit. There we go. This one, I'm going to hold the regular bi-level foot and the right one, and we're going to turn them up and have a look at them. Now you can see the raised part, they're just mirrored on each one. This one's on the left, this one's on the right. That's the only difference between these feet. They both can accommodate a 7mm decorative stitch or zigzag stitch. Another plus to using the quilt binding foot, we all should recognize this little black button right here. This is also on our standard sewing machine feet. It's called the J foot. But what that does, when you lower this foot down on your binding and you hold that in, it will actually keep that foot level as it's going over, say, the corners in the quilt, if you need it to. And that's what that little button right there is for. When you push it in, lower the foot, it will maintain that level, the level that you lowered the foot down into. Okay? But those are these are the feet right here. These three are the ones that there was so much discussion in our group about here over the last week. And that's what I wanted to touch base on tonight. I'm going to look at some comments and answer those. And now it says the YouTube stream is healthy and excellent and all that fun stuff. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie on YouTube said it's coming through fine on YouTube, everybody, as well. So, excuse me. Congratulations, Karen, on ordering that binding foot. I'm going to make sure I don't miss anybody in the chat windows here. Okay, Ronnie. Oops, let me go back up here. Oh, and let me swap my camera back over so you can see my beautiful face. I'm kidding, of course. Okay, so here we go. Let's get back to this. Who do we have on here now? Any questions? Lisa, just when you lower it, you need to keep it pressed in to make it work. Yes, Christy, that binding foot is amazing. Karen, I love that digital dual feed foot also. You know, everybody, we do have some people on here with the brother equivalent to the Solaris and the Altair. And on the brother, if you have one of those brother machines, their digital dual feed foot is called the Move It foot. Okay? And they all work the same way as far as that goes. Laura, that's a great question because some people do not like to use a computerized walking foot when they're going over that binding edge. I personally adore the digital dual feed foot better myself, but for some folks, let's say you don't have a machine that doesn't have the digital dual feed foot. If you don't have that, then the quilt binding foot would be your only option, quite honestly. I hope that made sense. Okay. Lisa. Hi, Ronnie. And Kathy, I answered that. I never use the bi-level feet, even though I have them. In my opinion, those are more for garment makers were more designed for garment makers and to do decorative top stitching with, along the edge of a seam or a piece of fabric. Okay. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Marion. Oh, thank you, Marcia. Yes. I tell you what, it is always an adventure finding audio and visual equipment. That's all I can say. Hi, Janet. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Pat. Oh, wonderful, Laura. I'm so glad you're here. There's going to be a lot more live events. Hi, Jenny. Okay, think. Hi, Valerie. Okay, and let me check the YouTube side. Okay, wonderful, everybody. Now then, I will say this, those of you that are wondering why I'm doing it on both Facebook and YouTube, before I would actually, when I just did it on Facebook, it would take me about 2 hours. Believe it or not, it takes about 2 hours to convert a video, then to upload it to YouTube and go through all the checks and everything on there. And by streaming it into both locations at the same time, it gives me an extra 2 hours a week, believe it or not, to really use in something that will benefit everybody so much better. I hope that made sense. Okay, let me go down here. Hi, Pam. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Sandra. Exactly, Lisa. That's exactly what those bi-level feet were designed for. Absolutely. Okay. Now then, let me get a drink of my water. Okay. Pull this back up. Okay. So, I am going to post a new event after this is over. I think I will have everything set up. No, I will have everything set up. I'm going to be doing a live stream this Sunday at noon Central Standard Time, and we are going to explore different ways to make a rag quilt. There's several methods going from the cutting to the sewing together and all that stuff. But I am doing a rag quilt live stream tutorial on YouTube. Okay? So if you want to, there will be a link for you to join here in our Facebook group as well. Christina, yes, the comments in the Facebook group are private to the group. That is correct. The YouTube comments are not private, however. That is not a private membership group. That is open to the public, just so everybody knows that. Okay. So if you're watching in YouTube and you make a comment, it will not appear, wrong way. If you're watching on Facebook and you make a comment, it will not be visible on the YouTube side. I hope that made sense. I'm going to start doing, and this Sunday will be the test for the summer, I will start doing a live stream every Sunday at noon Central Standard Time. For those of you that have been around a while, I used to call it Under the Needle, and now it's just going to be something like Sewing with Richard or something like that. I haven't decided on a title for it yet. But it'd definitely be something that you could come and sit and watch and sew along if you wanted to. That's for sure. Okay. And let's see here. Looking at the little screen, all these, I have so many windows up to do this. Okay. So, I do have an announcement. I'm sure some of you have realized I am rebuilding the website. So it is up. The bare bones of it is up. I have put on to my new website. It does have an event schedule, so it has my travel schedule and what I'm actually doing for all of that stuff. So, but at the top of the screen there is an event schedule, so that would be a place where you could check if you ever want to see where I'm going to and all that fun stuff. That's what I currently have booked. I have a lot of stuff in progress It just hasn't been finalized yet. And let's see here. I decided to host my website with my store's processing company. So we use Square in our physical store, and the website is now being hosted on Square's management system. It will actually have a more streamlined experience than having for it to bounce between two different, it's a Google domain that was first hosted by Wix and is now hosted by Square. But since that's also my payment gateway for everything, it'll make less work on me. I'm just trying to do things to streamline the amount of hours it takes me to keep everything going. And it's a lot. Okay. Ooh-wee. Excuse me. Oh, Debbie, I'd love to come back to Flash. Actually, I need to call them. They're on my call list for next week so we can discuss things. Allison, I'm sure I will still be on after you get out of church. Exactly, Tanya. The way I had, of course, everybody has watched me for a while knows, I can't even talk tonight, knows that before COVID, I had never done Facebook Lives or anything virtually, and it's been a huge learning experience for me. And I had everything compartmentalized into these little bitty groups of tasks for me to do. But now I'm trying to streamline it all together so it frees up time so that I can do more videos. The back end of all of this is a lot of, I don't want to say bookkeeping, but when it comes to editing stuff and converting files to post, yeah, it eats up a lot of time. And I'm just trying to streamline everything so I can actually do more. Okay. And let's see here. So, something else. What was it? Let's see here. Oh, yes. So the big thing I'm doing into my studio right now, I have all my baby lock machines set up in my video studio, and quite honestly, it is so overcrowded. So that's what we're doing starting tomorrow. We are resetting the studio and stripping. The only machine I will have set up in here is the machine that I'm actually going to be using for a video or for a class or whatever. And I'm a little claustrophobic, so I can tell you, having I'm surrounded by all of, I'm sure some of you can really relate to what I'm about to say, but when you have so much stuff around you, sometimes it just kind of closes in on you and it kills your creativity. And I've been working. Yeah, it's been hard for me on that. Laura. Oh, Laura, totally. Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could. But our store, it's actually a small, I look at our little shop here at the house. It's not a full-fledged quilt shop. It's more of an open studio to where I work and do what I do. Most of the people that come into the shop come in to drop off sewing machines for repair and service. I do have a lot of fabric and yarn and stuff here. However, most of that is actually sold online. And all the fabric that I do order in is stuff that I use for my workshop kits when I have workshops. So it's not like I have all of the calf facet line and all the tulle line and blah, blah, blah. I don't do that. I just have some select fabric that I know would be good to create kits with for my projects, for my workshops, that my wonderful friends like you all and the people across the country like to come and take a live workshop with me. Okay, God, I hope that made sense. So I'm going to call tonight a success because I have a big monitor over here, and over here on the one side where I have the YouTube screens up, it says excellent stream status, and on the Facebook side is actually saying the same thing, so that's a good thing. I was really concerned about that. But so it's really been good. And let's see here. Puffin, oh my gosh, I'm going to be doing a short video on my little dog. So I was out watering some new hydrangea plants that we just planted. And I turned the water flow. We have low flow water spigots and stuff. So we put that down on the ground to slowly drench the area where those new plants have been planted. And Puffin decided he wanted to attack the water coming out of the hose. So it became a really muddy mess. I got tickled and started laughing. So I'm going to try to recreate that and post a video on it because it was pretty funny to watch. But he was covered in mud. He's over here in his little bed now, hanging his head off of his little couch. And it was pretty funny to see, that's for sure. So I am going to videotape him so I can share that everyone can have the experience of Puffin growling and trying to bite water coming out of his sprinkler. It was hilarious. Okay. Oh, thank you, Margaret. Let's see here. And let's see, there was something else I wanted to talk about. Let's see here. Oh, yes. So next week on my shooting schedule, I'm going to be shooting serger videos. And specifically, what I'm going to start with on that is how to thread them. The different ways to thread a serger to create a different stitch. I mean, it sounds fundamental, but I'm going to start with all the different wave stitches on the Triumph. Those would apply to any of the Baby Lock sergers with the wave stitch capability, but that is the trickiest stitches to thread for are those wave stitches. So that will be coming out next week. Okay. And let's see here. Oh, wonderful, Chris. Thank you, Lisa. And let's see here, Vanessa. I have the digital foot with the middle one. That is correct, Vanessa. You are correct, yes. Okay. Yes, Christina, I can tell you from doing a lot of my serger quilt camps live this spring, that is the one that stumps everybody, for sure. Yes, Gail, they are tough because The threading path is not the normal threading path, basically. Those threading paths, sometimes you actually have to swap the needle thread and the upper looper thread to different thread paths to get the, because what that does, it creates tension. It adjusts the tension on a stitch. Oh yes, Kathy, that's my favorite one also. I love to piece with that one. And that will be one of the stitches in that video, yes. I'm going to put all the wave stitches into one video. And then it will be bookmarked with chapters so you can swap in between them. Let's see here. What's that? Okay. Yes, those wave stitches are a lot of fun. And I tell you, the wave stitches, that's a good time to use metallic thread in your loopers, because these baby lock sergers, they love metallic thread. They really and truly do. Okay. So, let's see. We talked about that. And you know what, y'all? We got through that much faster than I thought we would. I'm going to show you one more thing with these feet, though. Grab my quilt. So this is the quilt that we attached the binding onto last week. Now I'm going to show you the difference of what this would look like with that quilt binding foot as opposed to the bi-level foot if you were trying to use one of those to attach the binding with. What I'm doing, I'm setting up my little camera area over here before I swap back, and I'm just going to show you. Lay this out here. There we go. Okay. So let me swap my camera feed, everybody. There we go. Now, this is the quilt binding foot that we used last week. Now notice, there's the raised part, and it would butt right up against that binding like so. See how the edge of the binding, it will just run right along the edge, oops, of that foot like so, right there. The little hash mark on this foot is right here. It's right there. Let me try to get it a little bit closer. There we go. And now you can see that hash mark right there. With that needle in the center position, that's exactly how this was stitched down last week. But see how that lines up with that little hash mark? Now then, if I put the left bi-level foot on it, that's what I'm going to do right now, and I put the edge all the way over to its hash mark right there. So check that out. There's the difference visually between those 2 feet. The edge of the fabric would be all the way over there as opposed to where it is here. If you did a straight stitch, because most people don't like to do decorative stitches to stitch down their binding with. They want to use a straight stitch. Excuse me. In order to use a straight stitch here to make it come out to where to this area like I did with this foot, I would actually have to move my needle almost all the way over to the left to get it to line up. Here, it automatically does it without any needle adjustment. So that is really a good, this is a good graphical representation of the big difference between these 2 feet. Okay. So flip it back over. There we go. Okay. Oops. Let me clean up my little workspace right here so I don't drag any feet off into the floor and Puffin decides he wants to swallow one. Yeah, don't ask. Okay. So, another comment. Fill the quilted squares and keep the area outline off. I can't find it. Well, Allison, I will do another YouTube video. I will do another video on that, and I've already been thinking of that as well. And don't worry, I've got you covered. I'll get that out next week. That is actually on the top of my to-do list, along with the wave stitches for the serger. And listen, everybody, what I do when I put out that video, I'm going to just go over how to outline a quilt block in the hoop and how to turn the outline off if that's what you want. Okay? Allison, the videos where I talk about that is actually in my IQ Hoffman Dream Panel video series on YouTube is what it's on. There's not a specific video for that, but I am going to create one for that. Yes. IQ, I'm writing that down to remind me. IQ Quilting and Hoop outlines. Okay. Alrighty. Yes, Christina, those hash marks, if you're not really looking for them, they're really easy to miss, but it really makes it easy to line up the edge, a folded edge of fabric or a seam line with it. Because those bi-level feet and quilt binding foot, they could also be used just to do decorative top stitching with and to line it up and keep it straight. Okay. Oh yes, Lisa, there are Sashiko plans as well. Absolutely. Yes, I will come up with a project for everybody that has a Sashiko to do that with as well. And let's see. Okay. Very good. Okay, Karen, you got it. I love my Sashiko. I tell you, that's the big look. When I was talking about how I'm redoing the studio, that's been like one of my big stumbling blocks is that I have so many machines in here. I don't have room to fully, properly videotape with different camera angles and lighting setups to get a really good quality video. And that's what I'm really striving for here in 2020, is to up the quality of my videos all the way around. Alrighty. Oh, Sarah, yes, I will be doing everything I've talked about tonight. Sarah applies to the Altair. Actually, the machine, the machine where I have all these feet, that is the Altair, quite honestly. But yes, I do have a whole series of videos scheduled to shoot just on the Altair. Also a set of videos to shoot on the Solaris, the Meridian, the Sashiko, the Triumph, the Euphoria, the Accomplish. What else? Oh, I'm missing one of my machines. Oh, the Regent, the Gallant. Yeah, I have a lot of videos to shoot. That's what I'm doing for my summer, because I'm not traveling again until August. So I have all the way until the end of July to shoot videos every day. Okay. Well, everybody, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. This was a huge test as far as my current streaming setup, because just if you've never streamed before, keep in mind this. I have to have streaming software up and running, and that streaming software handles the camera, which directs the camera feed to either YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or whatever you're going to use. And then the way I'm doing it right now through a program called OBS, my computer that I'm using right now, it has to be able to handle the encoding for two separate different streams. And I'm looking at streaming services where I just have to push one stream into it, and then it will branch out to all the other streams that I want it to. That's what I am trying to get accomplished before I really do this hard and heavy, so to speak. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We'll have a lot of fun next week. It is going to be on a different machine, a different topic than what we did tonight. And I have a lot of good, fun things planned for everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Each and every one of you means so much to me. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And remember, Sunday at noon, I'm going to get that posted here in the group. I have to create the stream thing for it on YouTube, but there'll be a link in the group where you can join me on YouTube for that. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend, and I will see, hopefully, a lot of you on Sunday. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.